This is Max Enix, and we're watching Rocked.
Max Enix, welcome to Rocked. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for your interview, Jake. I'm so happy to see you here again. You're an awesome person, and I'm very happy to have a new interview with you.
Awesome, man. Now, I know we talked briefly about your influences growing up. You did a lot of improvisation. You were inspired by influential composers like Danny Elfman and Hans Zimmer. And all throughout time, you've learned to expand your genre, and it's not just classical, it's not just metal, it's all these different things in between. And I was wondering, have you also focused on your local music scene in France? Because all over Spotify, like there's so much music, like you can really get like all these different decades. I was checking out Vanessa Paradis and Noir Désir and Eiffel and Telephone. There's so much.
Mm. Yeah. I have a big musical background, lots of influences since my youth, and I love film score, film music like Hans Zimmer, Danny Elfman. Always loved Batman and all this kind of stuff and music. I have been very young with some music like Michael Jackson. Um, at the very beginning, when I was around 10 years old, I have listened some boys bands like Worlds Apart, To Be Free, etc., etc. Another generation, but now because now the young generation are very focused on rap music and others, but it's depend. And after I have discovered some bands like Era or Enigma with some esoteric influences, etc., etc., and very great music. And after a friend of mine let me discover Fear Factory, this kind of bands, Offspring, etc. In my family, they are listen lots of different music, classical music, lots of classical music like Chopin, like Jean-Sébastien Bach, etc. And progressively, other influences have come in my life. All kind of metal, and progressively I have changed my way of thinking because I think only metal is sometimes sectarian, or there's too much communautarism around this kind of music, and the things have changed a lot since 10 years, because before in the music like metal and others, there was deep meanings about life, about some things were serious and others. And now I have the impression that this kind of music, you have one side of people who are very serious and have great values and others, but another side of people now, some who are just clones, who made that for fun and without real intention, without real intention of changing finally the society on some things. And I think this kind of music you have to do to change some aspects of the society and see and say it what's wrong or not. And it's why in my music I fusion the genres with progressive rock metal, of course, but film score, hip hop, rap,
The
world
more
music.
alternative styles in between, right?
Yeah, Yeah, and world music, new age, and all the blues, jazz, and others, all kind of music to have a wall. My example are Michael Jackson in the past or David Bowie, who have constantly changed the projects, the albums, and now my references are more Hans Zimmer and Devin Townsend, who innovate each time and evolve things. So I'm more in the evolution of music, not regression or stagnation, like we see actually. I don't know, but I think creativity is more and more less behind, and I'm more in the evolution scene, and people have no new music to have on their head, so they retake the old stuff, the old stuff from 30 years before, etc., etc. It's very good, because that's a deep meanings behind it's that the music in the past are better than the music we hear now, actually, because actually you see black metal everywhere. Everyone cries or made black metal vocals without passion. Um, they are imprisoned in the tastes of some people of the mass, and the things are very, very different. But there are some great artists in the black metal scene who change things too, and others. But I think we have to innovate now and propose something different, so that the people don't try to come back again in the past, but evolve with something who fusion the genres and have another approach, avant-garde.
Mm-hmm. And when you would look back at your early efforts musically when you were a kid and just getting into music, um, did you like sit back and say like, like I didn't quite get this right? Or were you constantly saying, no, no, I can do better, I can do better, I can expand on this and that, and eventually own my skills to do better?
Yeah, yeah. I don't try to come back in my precedent tastes or others. I want to reach new levels, new way of doing music. I don't want to be a copies or a clones of all that exists, because some people do lots of stuff, lots of albums that are similar to all others. We have They have a sound was similar to all, and the problem is that the masses want to hear always the same thing, the same kind of things, etc., etc. And I don't want to continue in the sound of precedent bands, but I want to end the tastes of my childhood or youth. I want to innovate and propose something completely avant-garde and new, finally, to the masses and to the people.
Hmm. So in other words, when you're growing up, you emulate, but then when you older, you innovate.
Yeah, yeah. Um, when I was young, I listened to this kind of bands. Loved Rhapsody or Farion of this kind of music. So these bands have very influenced me. But I have seen lots of this kind of bands, etc. But I have always innovated in my way of composing and creating things. Always more with the keyboards, more film music. But the basis of my work is film music. So it's why I want to do some things more in the film music side in the future, always with the basis of film music. and after propose over things. But yeah, I have always innovate when I was young too, and I go further in this way now.
Mm-hmm. And when you think back to the experience of Far From Home, you started primarily on synthesizers and getting the people you know together, the people you trust as musicians. That whole album was a whole other beast in itself. So when you look back on that process, like you took it a step further, you got the Budapest Symphony Orchestra involved. How was that experience for you?
The Budapest Symphony Orchestra was a great experience. Peter Kovacs, the director of the Budapest Symphony Orchestra, is a fantastic guy. Very kind, very great and professional, etc., etc. And the musicians are absolutely awesome. But when you use an orchestra, you lost finally the massive orchestrations you have at the beginning. So it's great for film music for others to have another sensibility on the music. But for the future, I will always work with Thomas Kubler for the orchestrations, but we will take the sequences of the orchestration with far more massive sounds, with orchestral elements and shores. And it's, I think, better again for the future projects. In Far From Home, it was um, a test to do things with an orchestra, to let know and see if it's possible to work with an orchestra, etc. And the goal, I think, is realized, but it's very expensive to work with an orchestra. And for the future now, I will work without orchestra, but with massive orchestration. And for the film music in the future, we will be able to reuse orchestra if needed with a realizator or a director, etc. But it was a great things and great experience to work with an orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
And this Budapest Symphony Orchestra is one of the best in the world for the recording, etc., etc. And the people I have worked in the Far From Home albums are all very great. But if there's just a thing I can say about these people, is that sometimes there's an unhealthy competition,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to put their project on the spotlight, but not the project of the others. And I think it's a shame because we trust them, we pay them to be in the projects, and I'm very happy of the results. But after they promote some friends, they promote the work of some friends, but don't promote me. And
Mm-hmm.
I know why, because they want to promote their music. Some have worked on some orchestrations.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, one people who have worked with me on piano, etc., who do orchestrations too. I try to sideline the orchestrator I work with, Thomas Kubler. Why? Because he said to me, "Oh, you don't have to pay this orchestrator; it's too expensive. I will do the orchestration myself, not the others, etc., etc."
Right.
And when we have worked on the during the process of the albums, and I think it's not a good way to work, because it remains that finally these people want to dominate, want to have the spotlight on them. And I have said, no, I work with Thomas Kubler for the orchestration. It's the best for this one. And after there was angry or vexed, and don't talk about my projects and others. So the meaning of all that, the conclusion of all that is they want to have their projects and their skills on the spotlight,
Mhm.
but I don't want to have the other skills on the spotlight because for them it's not good for their interest and for the project and proposal they can have aside.
In other
And
words, like everyone should share on the spotlight, not just a few people, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. It's clear, but I think it's sad because
Yeah.
they promote the work of others who are not as good as theirs or their projects. But when we have a project that is where we go further on some points than
Mm.
them, I don't do publicity. And I think it's not good. So after they say to me, yeah, we can work again together, but we have to pay that, we have to pay more. So some people and musicians only work for interest, not for passion, finally.
Right.
Passion on their music and commercial aspects, but not for us. So I have delayed these people
Mhm.
uh, and I don't want to work with them anymore because we have to be on the same wavelength,
Mhm.
not be in the unhealthy competition.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. You always want to, it's not always there's not always has to be a financial aspect. You have to, at the end of the day, it's all about the music. And you kept that up. Um, you have two other projects. You have Beauty and Darkness, which we'll start off with. That is more of a black metal leaning album focused all on darkness, corruption, perversion. Now, stylistically, there's always a guitar on hand or a piano on hand, but how do you get your thematic inspiration? What do you watch? What do you read in order to absorb those concepts for this new stuff that you're working on?
Yeah, I always want to have a cinematic side. The basis of my projects are cinematic. So it's cinematic music finally. And for Beauty in Darkness and Ocean of Light, it's two albums who are opposite, the two contrary. It's the yin and the yang. We have Beauty in Darkness, who will talk about the worst side of the humanity, all the worst of the humanity, the corruption, the unhealthy interest, the fanaticism, the cancel culture too, the cancel culture and others. And it will be a fusion of cinematic music, film score, black metal music, progressive rock metal, and rap hip hop between others.
Mhm.
And there will be a special guest, two special guests on it. There will be Niklas Gvarforth from the Shining album, a guy who is very some people like, some people hate, of course, because
There's always that like dichotomic that stark contrast in like what people you either love them or you're vastly indifferent. You're like, oh, I can't stand that guy.
yeah. There's there's
But that's really cool. And you also have Michael 120, the rapper that was on
the
Far From Home.
rapper too.
Yeah,
I have just one thing to say about Niklas Gvarforth.
yeah.
Uh, he have done in the past some things I cannot caution. I cannot caution on some points, but when you see the words we are living in and all the bullshit, all the reaction of the human of the humans and others is not far from a certain form of truth about the human condition and the horror that we see in our world, because there are some people who try sometimes to silence us, to make us martyr or scapegoats, or try to accuse us for things who are not true or others. And I think under the reactions of alcohol or drugs, some people do worst things or things who are not appropriate.
Yeah, things totally in contrast to their character, you know.
Yeah, yeah, completely. And under the use of alcohols and drugs. And if they have a mental disease, it's worst. But when you have this kind of people, it's finally some very sensitive people who have a background with horrible, with some abandonment. They live in the streets. They live in the streets. They are prostitute themselves. They have prostitute themselves and see the blows of the society, the oppression, the horror of the society, because they are different, because they are too sensitive, and they continue. Some people continue to blow them, to crush them, etc., etc. So the reaction is that they want to destroy finally the society and destroy the humans. And the way they do that is that they want to destroy themselves, and they said that the humans have to destroy themselves because of all we see in the world. We have seen the world, the concentration camps, etc.
Mhm.
And I have talked with him, and some guys around have completely destroyed him. They have completely destroyed him. So he's now without money, we are without funds, etc., etc. Because the
So
guy
it's
he has,
not just a general outlook on the world, like some of this stuff that's in this album is very personal to you.
yeah, and they have abused him, etc.
Yeah,
And I think the result is that he used some kind of violence against some people in the world who are disrespectful to him. And there's a misunderstanding of some things around, because people constantly provoke,
right. Yeah, that's
and the reaction is that he fights against all that. But
right.
these people know that he fights and he's look this bad side. They used his
Yeah, they
bad
use it
side.
against him. They use like as soon as he's vulnerable, as soon as he's unstable, they say, well, that's been him all along. And it's like, no,
Yeah,
that's not true.
yeah,
That's just him under these complicated circumstances, but you're missing that underneath it all, he's
yeah.
he has a kind heart. He's just been used and misplaced all the time.
Yeah, it's right. And some people trap him. Some people have trapped him because they know that he has lots of sensitivity in him, and he used this sensitivity with higher levels with his vocals and others. Is true, is not fake. And
Mm.
in the black metal scene, there's lots and lots of people around who are clones, and to make some corpse paint and play and joke and do some things like clowns. And there are people who are true to themselves. And the worst people hide all things. They hide all. And the true people don't hide things. So sometimes they have some reaction were not appropriate or dangerous, but they don't hide things because they are true. And some people trap them. There's a girl and a man who have trapped him after a concert, and they have provoked him, and he have mm, do his bad side, and they have reused that against him. So he have a problem about that, and the people who are with him have abused him too, and they have for money because he have gained some money by selling some albums, and they wanted the money for them. They wanted money and overs for them too. And because he don't have give to him the money they wanted or overs, they have destroy him, and have tried to recruit over people around to destroy him. And he have tried to do some business behind some people, because like he have said to him, people only take and take and take and never give. So he have tried to do some business behind the back of some people to earn more money, it's not good, but it's not good, but they are all used that against him, and try to make him a monster, because he show his all his sides, and he have lots of problem in the past, abandonments, people who don't care about him,
It's
etc.
so good that you can do this, that you're able to work together. You're able to take what he's been through and channel it to this degree.
Yeah,
This is awesome.
yeah, and it will be apocalyptic. The goal of this Beauty and Darkness album is to have something very apocalyptic. And we have talked about the figures, the people use statistic and figures and others in Europe to try to sometimes sidelight people, etc., with the
Yeah.
figures, numbers, etc. So very, very good. And he's not good actually. He's completely depressive and heal on some points. So I don't know if he will live again lots and lots of years between us. But in all case, um, yeah, it will be Beauty and Darkness, a very apocalyptic album with some black metal vocals, great black metal vocals, lyrics. Me by my side will do lots of variation on my vocals, with lots of emotion, lots of powerful vocal lines, some effects too, some very intimate vocals, lots of more variations than in Far From Home, because I will sing approximately 80% of the vocals this time. And Michael 120 will do some rap vocals and hip hop vocals with write his lyrics too. So we will have something um, something very, very coherent. And we will talk about the cancel culture and others, and some people who always take some truth about some people and manipulate them to their advantage. Uh, I have talked with Michael 122. He is very happy to work on this album, and the light and darkness are very, very close to him, because we have all an angel and demon side. We have all light and darkness in us. And once again, for Nicholas Bafrov, he has said to me that lots of people made fake accusations against him to destroy him. They said to him that it's pedophilia. They said to him that he have do that, and he said to me that it's completely nonsense. Never, never, he have said these kind of things, and he's against Nazism too. He's against Nazism, and we have talked about that. But some people said because one time he under the drugs and alcohol, he have made some things, but like Prince Harry, under the drugs and alcohol, he have do some things, or this kind of people. But it's against all that. But they use your weakness to return them against you, and it's that they do with others. And of course, I can caution. I don't caution some things if they are true, of course. But for Michael 120, yeah, we will have a trio with Michael 120, Nicholas Barforth, and me, with a fusion of genres.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And you so your collaboration with uh Niklas and with Michael 120, you've expressed both channeling those light and dark sides between the three of you. And I was wondering, you've emphasized the dark parts of the album, all the darkness, all the corruption, all the perversion, everything. But then where do you find the beauty in that darkness?
Ah, it's a great question. I when you see a movie like Beauty and the Beast, you see the beauty in darkness, because at the beginning you think that the beast is a guy without values, with is nasty and awful, etc., etc., the beast. And progressively, finally, you see that it's a mask. And it's a guy, the beast, have heart, a big heart, and is here to protect people from the horrible people we see around that try to destroy him. And when you see the beauty in darkness and when you see the beauty in the beast, there's a correspondence between, because you see the wonderful castle, you see the wonderful garden with the roses, with all these beautiful things around, but in an obscure way and poetic way. And I see the beauty in darkness like that, like a beautiful castle, beautiful garden with beautiful roses and flowers and others, but in sort of fog and in sort of obscure way. And there's lots of lights that come from all that. And in the end, you see that there's romanticism, something very romantic, something poetic, something mysterious, and others. And from the darkness to the light, you see that finally the bad things are not really in the darkness. They are not really not in the light. They are all of them. There's beautiful things in darkness and there's beautiful things in light. And in the end, because beauty and light, Ocean of Light will talk about the positive things in life, the beauty of things in life, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, there will be a confrontation between the light and darkness, people who will fight against darkness and people who will fight against light. But finally, in the end, in the last song of 20 minutes, light and darkness will be united against the real scumbags and real awful people where we see in our world.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, Hitler in the past, who have destroyed so many people for free. Not He has not said to people, you have to kill yourself. He
Right.
have he have killed all people around with genocide, with others, behind sugar words, behind fake appearances, and he have control all the masses like that. And there's difference between all these kind of people who hide all, and you see in the concentration camps, hide in the forest everywhere with people around with and snakes in disguise who destroy all around.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side, you see that the people who don't hide things, who sometimes made mistakes, sometimes made errors, but that don't hide all that.
Mm-hmm.
So the beauty in darkness is here. You see the beauty in the beast and all around, and finally the love at the end in an apocalyptic way.
Wow. So you focus not only on not just what was once beautiful, but what is capable of being beautiful in the world and what can be beautiful in the world too. Is
Yeah,
that like kind of like the direction you're going?
yeah. It's the direction I want to put. Finally, that people see that in the darkness there's lots of light, And
Mm.
in the light, there's a lot of
Even if
obscure.
it's in like subtle amounts, you can still find goodness, like even if it's like could be in like little shards.
Yeah, yeah. And it's the important is to invert things because we live in an upside down world
Mm-hmm.
where all is inverted. All is inverted by people, by the obscure elites, and by politicians because they use strategies, scoundrel strategies sometimes, to made fake things, fake documents everywhere to cover their tracks, to cover their crimes,
Yeah.
to cover all, and they spread everywhere. We have to stay in the light. We have to stay in the light, in the positive things in the light, etc. And we have to fight the obscure
But they're
people.
pandering. They don't believe in that. They don't believe it's not something that's truly in their hearts.
Yeah. Truly in my heart because there's too much injustices in this world, and there are people who have lots of money everywhere and they crush the people who have no money, and in the other side there are people who have no money and they crush the people who have money. I think in the end we have to stop the social classes wars
Mhm.
and the wars for territories, for revenge, and for people each other against them. And I think in the end, it's why I think it's like religion. We have all a religion hearts or not, but I think it's time to stop with the religions to go into spirituality. It's the
Mhm.
same for the politicians. I think we have to stop with all these politicians that leads everyone into the wall for their own interest, for their own images, and we have to be all together, light and darkness, against the fakeness of this society and horrible things we see around and people who cover crimes everywhere, etc. So the goal is here to make another approach of our society, of our world, and made that people understand that there's other ways and that they are manipulated, corrupted, and they are misled by all these obscure elites
Mhm.
and others for their own interests, and they crush the others
Mhm.
for that.
So when you think about the contrast of it, when you talk about your new project, or your second new project, I should say, Ocean of Light, that's a contrast from Beauty and Darkness because in the visual sense, um, so in Beauty and Darkness, this is like very grim, bleak. You're wearing black clothing, but in Ocean of Light, it's serene, it's calm, and you're wearing like a blue and white outfit. Is the entirety of Ocean of Light like focusing on new age, triumphant, uplifting, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think Beauty and Darkness is here to exorcise my demons
Right. And then
because
and then Ocean of Light is like when you have once you have exercised the demons, then there is a time to relax. There is a time to appreciate.
yeah,
So
of course,
more
yes,
so more so than you did before, there is a time to appreciate what you've essentially didn't pay attention to before when you were focusing on that darkness.
of course, yeah, you are right, you are right. The opposites, it's the two opposites, and I think it symbolizes the two sides we have in us. The two sides we have in us. So the angel side, the demon side, the dark side, and the light side. Um, in Beauty and Darkness, it's exercising my demons of the past, different kind of way. I have worked in different areas in the past. I have worked in the alternative medicine side. I have with ends imposition against for people to help them to recover their strength, to recover their energies in different things. I have worked in the commercial field as an estate agent. I have seen all the things around that with fake friends who try to backstab you in the back for their interest. With
So it seems
people,
like all these other areas that you've exercised, the real estate agent, the alternative medicine, you're able to channel those experiences into your music.
yeah, of course. Um, it will be sort of exercising the demons in Beauty and Darkness, and Ocean of Light. It will be the best time of my life to help others. We have one with very destructive album, but poetic, mysterious, and beautiful in the same time, and the other with very positive about the humanity, about the people around, about the beauty of things, etc., and the alternative medicine and others to help people. So there's an album with full of hate and an album with full of goodness about the humanity. To talk about the Beauty and Darkness again, there will be a video clip on it. There will be very hard and apocalyptic in a way, with all the worst things we see in our society. Lots of blood, lots of things, horrible things, and all the things that humanity have done, the concentration camps, the oppression, the murders, the people who raps after I buy them and put a gun on their heads for that, etc. So there will
Yeah.
be some sort version for everyone.
Yeah, because YouTube is notorious for their algorithm. If you mention like something remotely disturbing, you'll get the videos will get flagged.
Yeah. You're right. You're right, because
Like,
all is
okay, plan
controlled.
B. Okay, plan C. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
You want the
Because
art to kind of speak for itself in a way, right?
yeah, of course, that all is controlled, actually more and more controlled by people around, by the obscure elites, by people who try to
As much
silence.
as we love YouTube, like their algorithm is very messed up.
Yeah. And they try to control people, silent people, or silence people who say the reality of our world. But there will be a some sort version that will be for everyone. We don't see lots of things. There will be an erotic passage with a guy. I will play on all that with a guy who puts the gun on the head of a girl with some money on her mouth and put pressure on her to have the control, etc.,
Oh,
etc.
yeah.
Yeah, and like the society, we put pressure and others. And there will be an uncensored version for only adult people with, and it will be shocked, maybe it will be a shock for some people, with some porn passages, because we live in a world where porn is available for everyone. You have the kids who have porn everywhere on their phones, etc., and no one said nothing, and they mislead everyone by give wrong interpretation of the love around, who are sometimes under pressure, who are violent against some people. They put some legs on their heads. They give them blows, and sometimes um, don't take care of the people. there are people who are abused and manipulated by some porn industry. They don't say them the all the things, because I have worked in my past on a few years on the porn areas too, as an actor, but it's the past. It's the past, and it would be with one of my ex-girlfriend, etc., etc. So I know that I have worked in estate agents, commercial fields, restoration. I have worked in alternative medicine, and I have saved some life again around, and of course music composition and lots of things. So like I said to you,
So there's no shame in your game. You're
yeah,
you're on there. You're an arm, man. I admire that about you.
yeah, and this is an exorcism of my past. And in the other way, there will be the Ocean of Light album. So very positive things about the humanity, about the society. We will see the great landscapes. We will see the beauty of things, the water, the sea, the sand, some child who play on the sand, some very positive things about the humanity, about the compassion, about the real love. We see a guy who loves a girl in a very romantic, sensual way,
Yeah,
and
sensual way rather than like a
yeah,
slutty way and like
the
an abuse.
contrary, to the contrary, and deep love, real love of people. And
Constant, very French love.
yeah, yeah. And it will be the two opposite, the negative side of the humanity, and where there will be two positive things, and the positive things where will be negative things too. And in the end, so there will be another video clip where we play a guy too, with like you said, black blue clothes and white clothes, to the contrary of the Beauty in Darkness, where we have black clothes and obscure clothes, to have the opposite of the society, the two visions of the society. And I will play in Ocean of Light a cool guy with beautiful things, true love, etc., true values and others, and very serene things to say. We have an apocalypse side and we have a serene side. And in the end, the serene side win against all that. But in the end, there will be, because of the humanity against with the wars. We are near World War III with what we said in Ukraine, etc. And maybe in the near future, there will be, and it's more and more possible, nuclear wars or a real World War III. And in the end, finally, there will be this apocalyptic last songs of 20 minutes that will talk about that, and will be a confrontation between the darkness and the light, and the darkness and the light, and the darkness and the light. And in the end, there will be an apocalyptic final, or this time, to the contrary of Far From Home, or in Far From Home, all ended very well. Here, in this last song, it will be the end of humanity, the definitive end of humanity. And in the end, it will remain only pain and love.
Mm-hmm.
Only pain and love, the negative and the positive sides. And after that, there will be hope, because there will be a new age of souls and a new age of over intelligences in the cosmic, in the cosmos and others. So the telluric and the cosmic, to have this universal equilibrium.
It's awesome, man. I'm so glad that you were able to explain the concepts of both of the albums that you've worked on now so thoroughly and so passionately. Like I commend you for that, man. And you also have some projects coming up after those albums. You have pretty much this 2 year span all planned out. You're focusing more on film score. Now, would this still focus on those two sides, or will it be like more entertaining and more kind of cartoonish and more like animated kind of thing?
Yeah, you're right. I will focus on other projects. So first, I will sing. I will try, and I will sing. I have people around. I will sign with an international label, another international label. I will try to take a big one to retake Far From Home for a re-release of Far From Home to have an higher exposition in the words so that the people will know it more. And for the Beauty in Darkness and Ocean of Light album that will be released autumn 2026. And aside that, I will try to send on some big companies for film music. I have some contacts, etc. Maybe Netflix and others to make some film score and video games music and others. I have some contacts. Like there's always original version and an orchestral version for film music, and it will be the case for the future. So different proposals, and I will try to compose maybe some songs for some people too, collaboration on vocals for some people. And yeah, I have other perspectives for the future albums. This time, if we don't die every if all don't die in the World War III. it's why it's why I do these two new albums before, maybe but maybe I will die before, because with all the words I said in general, there are some enemies who will try to kill me, maybe. And
Yeah.
and
You got to get that output down
yeah,
before
yeah,
everything happens.
yeah. And if all goes well with all that, the future albums will be more more peaceful and for the dreams. There will be an album like The Lord of the Rings, for example, very epic. Another like Blade Runner, Vangelis, with some influences. Another more maybe in Africa, with completely different way of composing, very based on drums and percussion, and with beautiful things and a beautiful story I have already in mind about the migration, about all that.
Mm.
Another one for Halloween, for example. Halloween with some pumpkins on it. And yeah, cartoon with maybe an history of dogs who have found, who have lost his bones, and he tried to go in the streets and want to take again his bones, or a precious thing for the dogs he love, for example.
Mhm.
Um, and and lots of other things. I think two of them sort of alien albums with 10 songs, with each songs would be a discovery of another planet, with 10 different colors for each songs, with a story behind it. And I have other perspectives or other visions for story, always story and the scenario, with big stories. And the goal is to found producer or director in the future to make film movies about all these albums. We try to make the film for Far From Home too, and others. It will be great. And of course, the goals after the release of these albums is to make a big tour. I have already always some people behind for sound and for lighting, etc.
Yeah, this definitely needs to, you definitely need to play this live, and you definitely need to come to Tampa, Florida, where I am.
With pleasure,
Put
we
up
will be
a
able
great
to
show.
we'll
Hey,
be able
feel
to
on
see you.
down. Feel on down. We got this great show. But seriously, man, every time I listen to your music, I can totally see it on the stage. So that's
Yeah,
what you gotta do.
yeah. And it's the goal, and we'll be able to meet directly. It will be great. And the goal is to promote myself with a great sound engineer, Lightnings, with a production company and others assimilated to these big labels and others,
Mhm.
and with another woman singer, so two, and great visuals behind, with awesome visuals, awesome lightnings to have a terrific atmosphere who will be absolutely transcendent, etc. Like the music, the vocals, all will be professional, and we will see if we have need of other musicians or if we take the soundtrack behind and we will make something very, very cinematic, very, very filmic. We will see that in time, and the priority is the USA, the Asia, the UK, and after the Europe. We will see that in time.
Awesome, man. Considering all you've been through up to this point, what have you learned about yourself, not only as a musician, but as a person?
I have learned that in this society, it's difficult to find people who are really trustful,
Mhm.
who are really, we have really great values and morals in life, because the words become so fake that when you have good intentions, the people think they want to that they think that we want to scam them or abuse them or others, and I think it's a total nonsense. We have to restore communication. The people don't talk lots actually, and they use your words, they'll use your kindness to their advantage. And I don't know what's happened in this society actually, because they take the kindness for weakness sometimes. So when you have kind words about them, you want to know them better, and you talk a lot to give them trust. They think there's a problem behind. They think they
Or it's like too easy. It's too like, oh, this, like, of course, like he's talking to me just because I like to talk. So they take it for granted. And
yeah,
it becomes too easy for them. Oh
yeah,
wow, their kindness doesn't pose a challenge for me, so I'm just gonna be, you know, it sucks, man. But you learned that for those who are truly kind, you know, they add value to your life. You cherish that.
yeah. And actually, the more you talk, the more you say things, the more people think you want to manipulate them. And there's the worst awful people who don't say a word, who have don't care nothing to do and say, "Are you okay?"
Hmm.
And the people think that they are true, but all is inverted, because sometimes you want to show them that you are a trustful person, that you can talk about them about different things, but they think it's strange or weird. And people who don't give a fuck, they talk and they think it's okay because they don't show their emotions, they don't show their their true intentions. So when they don't show their true intentions, they think they are true, but
Mhm.
it's the invert. And when you show your true intentions, they think you are fake or you are dangerous. And I think all is inverting
Like
that.
you'll find that some of the kindest people like me and like the other people you know, sometimes we get boring. Sometimes we run out of things to say. So you know we're not gonna hurt anything.
Yeah. It's a complete nonsense. It's a complete nonsense. And after they said, "Hey, you talk too much. What is your problem?" And
Yeah, but
that's
it's
completely
and it's so cool, man. It's so cool that we not only are able to speak on this level as musicians, you know, but like
yeah.
to have this talk. I'm very grateful, man. And the last question, anything you like to say to your fans?
So since my youth, uh, I have, I think, the body, the soul, and the spirit are one. I think our souls are have different kinds of levels of perception in the universe, in the cosmos, with
Mhm,
the core theory, etc. There's interaction, dimensions, and others around, like some scientists have work on that, and there are some interactions, some things behind who go further than our understanding. And there's some people who don't understand that because they only on their condition side of the human condition side, and they don't think far more for their souls, the age of their souls, etc. So
mhm,
I think first we are alone in our life. We have to fight alone in our life. We have to do things alone. And if we do things alone and we are strong by doing things alone, we are strong. We don't need the opinions of others to know what is good or what is not good, because lots of people try to silence or to say it's not good, it's not good, and people are misled.
mhm,
So yeah, the age of the soul. After, I think we are in the body, we have a body, and some keys are here in our body to understand more higher perspectives with our souls, the path we have to take in our condition to return and in our condition to be here like some lost souls, and to go further with our souls and take over paths when you see the black holes in the universe and others, and we have to prepare our souls for greater perspectives. I think the meaning of life is to prepare our souls for greater perspectives.